how big we are, and so on and so forth. So CompuTrade Technology International, or Philippines, is really part of a larger organization that is based out of Indonesia, Jakarta. So a few years ago, they did have an intention of expanding outside of the area of Indonesia, which they have a very formidable footprint, and they've started expanding to areas such as Malaysia and Philippines. So I am part of the operations that's managing Philippines. But CTI in general was founded in 2003. They started as an infrastructure partner. They are a true, what they call, so-called value-add distributor, wherein we really are focusing on products that are very high-touch, enterprise portfolio products, and more of SI-driven type of solutions. The Philippine and Malaysia operations started about 3-4 years ago. So I am part of the operations in Philippines, like I mentioned. So we now have at least 55 brands that we represent across the territories that we are now operating in. CTI in general are actually in areas, not just in infrastructure, but also we are a volume distributor. So the brands I will show later on do reflect other areas which we don't do in Philippines, but nonetheless, it's a business for us. Volume distributor, like I mentioned, so we do have some retail business. We also have an online store, which has not been done in Philippines. We also have disciplines and practices across education, the IT security managed service, which Ka-Tropa will mention a while later, and a bit of cloud offering. So cloud, we do have a value proposition to the market. Okay, so CTI Group is actually not one company, but a group of companies. Okay, so majority of these companies are still based out of Indonesia, and each of these companies do represent a different portfolio of products. So Central Data, their flagship brand is Oracle, but they're very diversified. Okay, Blue Power, their flagship brand is IBM, but again, they do have other brands that they represent. Okay, Helios is focused on HP. They're an HP distributor, but similar to most of the companies, they do have other portfolio products. Virtue System, the Dell EMC VMware World. I3 is which one? Education, Defense, Storage, Security, and then the XDC is more in the retail and online. Okay, so since it is more simplified in other countries, we just use CTI for Philippines as well as in Malaysia for purposes of consistency as far as the brand is concerned. Okay, so we do represent quite a number of products in the market. So even in the Philippines, maybe 20 to 30% of the brands that you see there right now, we represent. So these are across so many offerings, from the desktop to the PC to virtualization to security to infrastructure to big data and so on and so forth. So it's across so many solutions and so many disciplines. So medyo malawak na po yung aming portfolio. And in terms of the offerings to the market, we do have a lot of competencies already across most of our brands. Okay, so these are the brands that we represent. And this year, what we've done is we do want to make sure that we have a very strong thought leadership messaging to the market. So aside from being just a typical value-add distributor or business partner of our brands, we do make it a point to make sure that we provide thought leadership. So last year in Jakarta, they discussed digital transformation. So this year it's machine learning. Since this is my first full year that I am now part of the Summit Roadshow, I made it a point to discuss machine learning, and not only that, but also digital transformation. So Donald Lim, who is a Chief Digital Officer of ABS-CBN, if you know him, was part of my keynote speakers outside Canada, so he was here. So this is really an underlying theme for us across the two countries that the roadshow was run. This is the smaller one. The bigger one is in Jakarta, and some of the other brands here were also present there. Okay. So this is not a discussion for me to just elaborate on machine learning, but it's really our intention to be a thought leader on areas of technology that are really emerging. that we feel that this is really where the end point or the end state wherein some of the companies would like to go to as they go through the disruptive digital transformation machine learning journey. Okay? So that's just really a snapshot of who we are, the portfolio we have, the expansion we're doing, and what our intentions are. So what I'd like to really focus my efforts is really the announcements where we're going to do today. So I requested most of the principals to be here, and we're very blessed that they all came. They're very high on the executive level. They all are either the owners, part owners, shareholders in this case, so that you can get the information firsthand on what their products are, their intentions for the Philippines, as well as what's their value proposition to their focused audience or target market. Okay, so I don't want to preempt what they're going to say, and it's best that they elaborate what they have, but I'm very blessed that they've signed up with CompuTrade as their partner. So this is really our official launch for their products for the Philippines. So we're launching it in 3 areas. First and foremost, we're launching it to the end users, which we did this morning. The second announcement is to the press, which is to you. And the third one will be later this evening, which will be to the business partners. Okay, so it's a cycle of announcements across 3 different types of audiences. Okay, so in a nutshell, thank you again for coming. I think we're expecting more people, but really this is where we're coming from, and I would probably leave it later from Siva, Toto, Stephanie, and PK to explain their brands. Although they are leaders of their brands across the region, and they're in the best position to help elaborate and articulate their offerings. So I leave it the first product because I want to go through the products. I don't know who's the first one on the list. Is it you, Siva? Okay. So
we're
let's
going alphabetical.
Alphabetical. Okay. So that is here. Okay. So we'll start with deep identity. We'll walk you through what it is, you know. So it revolves around access, data governance. If you know the Data Privacy Act, medyo dating yan, it really falls under that. So that's where we are trying to address as a concern. Okay, so I'll leave it to Sheila to keep the mic. Thank you so much. Please reserve your questions for later for the Q&A.